basic form of capitalism, because people believe that like these social media companies are purposely making people stupid. And I was like,
no, I don't believe it at all. I mean, they just trying to make money.
Welcome to PTGtv. This is your host, Antonio Hicks, back with another episode. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing the dopamine intake from scrolling rather than learning or doing. And I know I'm guilty of this as well when you're trying to get some work done and you quickly pick up that phone. This is like my ADHD. You quickly pick up that phone to try to scroll for a little bit, get your mind off of something else, reset for a little bit before you get back into doing what you're supposed to be doing. And it is terrible. Like you wake up,
scrolling,
eat lunch,
scrolling,
have dinner,
scrolling,
be with friends,
scrolling.
So it's like surface level grazing. It's an issue that I think that we're all dealing with, that we pretty much all deal with. And I think it frustrates me the most too, especially with myself, because I get distracted real easily. And it's terrible. Like I had this issue throughout college, and I had this issue when I was younger when my parents didn't know what I had. And then when I got diagnosed with it in college, like it was really terrible. And I think it's getting me frustrated more so now when it comes to people in high places. And so when we look at the people in high places, and I'm not just talking about politics, I mean, it's kind of about politics, but it's not about politics in general. It's just the people that watch these high level people, from the Musk to the Bezos to the Cooks, or anybody with a big title behind their name. And we do this little surface level grazing when it comes to using our devices, where we like skim headlines, or we'll read summaries, or we'll watch little short videos, but don't engage like deeply into it. And I think it's affecting our learning abilities, because back in the day, like we didn't have short form content. Only thing we had was long form content and reading a book, going to the library and going through the Dewey Decimal System, which I've talked about this kind of before. I think it's come much more in the light now because of seeing how kids are doing, especially now that we have AI. Now that we have AI, it's even worse. And it's meant to be, and the AI is not bad because it's meant to be a tool. But then when we look at how they use, like a couple of my friends are professors, and one of my friends is highly against AI. And she likes the idea of it because we had to use it for this thing that we're working on recently. But she says that they don't even use the AI the way that, like, when I say they should be using it. And like one of my friends who's a president of a college says the same thing. It's like, if you're going to go to AI use it as a tool, then use it as a tool to help in understanding like math or any form of papers that you're trying to write and then get the resource from it and then cite that source in your paper. And to my understanding, they're not doing that. That's what I was told. I'm like, I would do that because I'm like, it literally cites its sources and when it's giving you the answer that you're asking for. And it's like, I don't get how we've gotten into this place of where we have like too much long content is boring and seen as bad, and short form intake is good. It's almost like it's passive consumption. And what it is, like, information just washes over us, like via like the feeds in our algorithm and what we're necessarily looking at, without active questioning, critique, or like any integration into it at all to figure out like really what's going on with it. You also have it's helping you or hurting you in forgetting how to learn. Like your over resilience on search engines means that you just don't practice memory, critical analysis, or structured thinking anymore when it comes to learning anything. And I get that to a degree because now it's much easier. Because I'm not going to sit here and say that if we didn't have this back in the day, that it wouldn't help us out a lot. Because us going to the library is an act in this time being taken away from what you could be actually studying, which is why I say kids are born with iPads these days, and they're smarter. They're just as slow as they are smart. Like, if you understand what I'm saying, like they're super smart because they know how to work the technology, but they're slow because they don't understand how that technology actually works. They just know how to use it. And I've used this example in some of my other episodes where I went to this panel. Sorry, I guess pollen is messing with my allergies again. Went to this panel, and there's this naval officer that was there. And he worked in the tech department in the Navy, and he said he's been across the whole world and whatnot. And he's saying that over here in the U.S., we're much more users than we are builders and engineers and stuff. Like, we don't necessarily know how this stuff actually works, whereas other people across the world, they do. But I'm like, I agree with that And I don't agree with that because it's almost to where if you're put in a hurt state, you're apt to learn more than you are if you have everything around you. And I say that because I can speak personally to that, to where when I was on the bottom, like I'm gonna use an example. When I really was on the bottom, I had nothing. I was by myself, and I was homeless and whatnot, sleeping on somebody's floor. Still homeless, sleeping on somebody's floor. I was more creative then, and I don't know what that is. I was way more creative then, and I was building all kind of stuff to trying to think of all kind of stuff to get me out of my situation. Of course, none of it worked out. Yeah, I've learned that recently. None of that works out because it's what you're trying to do, and it's not what God is trying to do for you. But anyway, that's not to get on a religious talk, but. But that's how I was. Like I was designing logos and stuff in PowerPoint. That's how crazy that was. Who designs logos in PowerPoint? And it's because that's only the software I had that I could afford to use. I literally had nothing. So I used what I had to try to build what I could. And it worked. I mean, I wasn't making no money off of it. It was just for like this praise team leader. One of my old mentors who was a praise team leader, she needed something done for this group that we used to sing with. And I could say, when you're doing that, like even when I really started picking myself back up again, or I wasn't picking myself up, I was blessed to be picked back up again. God was blessing me again. I did more when it came to cybersecurity. Like I was learning more about vulnerability testing, pen testing, learning about breaks and how to get into systems. I was doing way more stuff then than what I am. Like, right. I mean, my aspects of learning has gone different these days. And I want to get back to the root of that because I found that when I was doing that, and I'm more curious now. I'm just as curious now as I was back then. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm still just as curious. But when it comes to actually building stuff out, I don't know, man. It's that's what I can say. That's why I'm using it as a reference to people that's coming from lesser than communities, to where, like the kid in Africa who built his own. He had a cell tower or a radio. No, he built his own radio tower because they didn't have one in his village, and he built it from scratch, like from parts that he just picked up. He soldered stuff together, and I don't know if he understood it, but he understood it enough to build it. And he made his own radio. And I think eventually, as time passed on, he got accepted to college over here in the U.S. because they liked his curiosity and like how smart this dude was. Because, it take a smart person to build all that. Or a curious person, which is still a smart person, to build all that kind of stuff. But I think where we get into now, like we're forgetting actually how to learn things and the critical analysis when it comes to that. Like I have not lost my critical thinking skills. I think it's actually gotten worse now that I've gotten older because you just can't tell me anything or give me anything without understanding. Even in my work, like people will tell me, I'm gonna say it before, I'm gonna say it again. Y'all senior level people, boy. Senior level people, when people get to senior level status, it's like, especially in the technical environment, you don't use as much stuff as you used to. And when people ask you really detailed questions, oh, we're just going to do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, I'm not used to that at all. Like I'm used to deep thoughts and understanding what stuff is. But then you get into like what motivates you. So you have the extrinsic versus intrinsic motivation. So learning becomes about like grades and credentials or winning an argument online rather than genuine curiosity or mastery. Because even in our thing, it's always in the Black community. I'm gonna say specifically in the Black community. I didn't go to a high level college. Like I wanted to, I couldn't. My parents couldn't afford it. And I couldn't get student loans, and I was trying to get student loans, which is the weirdest thing to me. I couldn't get student loans to go to the college. I got accepted into Morehouse, and I really wanted to go to Morehouse. That was the only school I really applied for that I wanted to go into, and I got accepted in, but I would grades wasn't that good, so I had to have I was put on academic probation for a year. And I'm being real with you. Like I told you, I had ADHD. Like my grades weren't good in school, but they would put me on academic probation for a year. And then, of course, I still graduate with everybody else. But when it came to getting student loans, I couldn't get student loans. They told my parents how much school costs, and that was it. So I was left to go to community college. But the first thing that Black people do when you start talking to them, especially when you tell them about what position or what you're doing, oh, what school you go to? It's like, and then when you don't tell them like this high end or HBCU school or this big time school, it's like, oh. And that's exactly how it is. It's like, oh, Oh, and I mean, and it's like it almost is always they're putting you down. And I'm like, man, I did what I had to do. At least I graduated. Like, at least I graduated. At least I got higher education. I mean, I got higher education, and I got more higher education. So it's like, because I didn't go to the school that you know about or that you deem to be worthy of anything. Okay. And now even these days is, how many, especially in tech, how many certifications you got behind your name? It's like, bro, what? Like, can I do the job? Like, can I really do the job? The question should come, like, can I do the job? And I think that comes as a way of like excluding people out. And that's just my opinion. Like, there is no study behind that. This is one of those times where this is legitimately my opinion. There could be one, but I haven't looked it up. This is just my opinion when it comes to those things. And then you have that illusion of knowledge. Because I've met many people that's high educated, stupid as hell. I'm gonna be just like that. Like, they're so-called smart, but they're stupid. And it pisses me off because you walk around here flaunting this high level degree that you got from this degree that you got from this big time school. And I'm just like, you dumb as a brick. Like, you don't know even as much as I do. Like, what are you even talking about? So why is it a winning tool for you versus the knowledge I bring to the table? And it just is, in that illusion of knowledge, when it comes to this short form learning, it's like it's an easy access than making us feel informed. But the knowledge is often superficial and it's forgotten. Like, you learn it real quick so you can spit it out real quick. But when you come back and ask somebody this, if you're supposed to have retained information and somebody come back to you and ask you about it again, it's like, it's got pissed to the wind. And then you get the distraction of the economy. So you get the constant pings, the notifications, the infinite scrolls, that trains our brains away from sustained focus required for deep learning. Because there's a thing too, like, people start talking about things about happening within the economy, and because they got this short form content on their phone, they're always getting these reminders on there. Like, they really don't have a full grasp of how the economy works, especially when you're talking about tariffs. Like, we talked about tariffs before. It's like, what are you talking about tariffs? Like, what is it so hard to understand when it comes to that? You don't even have to believe me that the very device that's got you distracted, misinforming you, can inform you the right way, but you still refuse to go and do that. And then what about how we traveling? Like, the first thing we do when we get in the car is put address in the GPS rather than learn the route. And I am guilty for this 100%. I am guilty for this 100%. I will put that in, but it's not because I don't remember the route. Sometimes it is, but it's because I want to make sure ain't no traffic there, man. Like, real talk. I want to make sure ain't no traffic there. Like, I do not want to get stuck out in somebody's traffic when I'm trying to get to a destination. And I know back in the day, we didn't have that choice. We had maps. Like, you actually had to learn how to use a map. And, nowadays we just pop it in GPS, and then we so programmed to do that, is that we don't pay attention to how to get there, and we forget how to get there. Now, I'm not that bad. I'm pretty good about memory when it comes to locations and stuff. Like, I know specifically, once I've done it 2 or 3 times, like, it's burned into my head now. Like, I will say that. I'm one of those people that, which part of my ADHD, like, I'm one of those people that when I physically do it, once I've done it on the second and third time, I've gotten it. I've completely gotten it. Certain things. Coding, not so much. Like, I got to really sit down, like, even in my big old age, I want to sit down and, like, really grind into me the art of developing. And I know there's tons of languages out there, but I just really want to get that into myself. Like, I'm gonna start streaming like this vibe, like, what's vibe coding going on right now. I'm gonna start streaming that. But then while I'm doing it, it's like asking what each individual segment of that code is and, like, what does it do? Because that's one thing I've really been having a hard time struggling with. But outside of that, yeah, I learned it. But then let's introduce the concept of unconscious learning, and, like, what does it look like, and why is it a concern, and that we should, because when you look at unconscious learning, you can look at it as a good way because you get the information right then and right there, and you can cite it and you can put it out there to the world, but are you really retaining it? To me, it's like it's an unconditioned stimulus, and that's the thing that triggers, like, an automatic response to it. And then you get the unconditioned response. And this is the natural response that occurs when you experience unconditioned stimulus. So it's one of those things to where once you get the information that you automatically throw it out there to the world, And to me, even in those instances where you throw it out there, you haven't validated that actual source to make sure that what you got was accurate, and then that you citing it coming from a notable place or 2 or 3 notable places. And then you have that conditioned stimulus, and this is considered a neutral stimulus in the conditioned response. And this is the required response to the conditioned stimulus. And this is what you were conditioned to be doing. Like, you've been working on it, you've been training in it, and you've been studying it. And so you can spit it out because you know it off the top of your head accurately. And the response is going to be to just putting it out there because you've seen it and you can cite where the sources have come from. And the problem is, like, all of this stuff is like, when it comes to technology, this is just an addiction, man. Like, it's just another addiction that we have out there. It really is another addiction. Like, you can look at it as alcoholism. You can look at it as a porn addiction. You can look at it's just another addiction. Because anytime you take away somebody's device and they start panicking, it's an addiction. So, and all of this stuff has a point, because I brought it back up in regards to politics and really diving deep into it, because we're under this thing of, if we see the information quickly and it lines into what we believe or what we think we might believe, then we spit that out to the world. And I think that's a terrible thing to do. And it's bad, especially when it comes to daily life itself. Like, have you ever reflexively like reached for your phone while hearing the same notification sound as yours from somebody else? Like, you ain't even feel it. You just heard somebody else got the same ringtone or the same notification bell on their phone, and theirs goes off, and that urge in you, you go pull it out of your pocket or out of your purse to see if it's actually you. And now you know that you get a vibration response. Typically, I mean, unless you turn the feature off, because you can't turn it off, you get a vibration response to let you know that you got a message. And then if you got a smartwatch that's linked up to your phone, you will get that notification on your wrist as well. I mean, or what about a desire to eat at a specific time of the day, even though you aren't even hungry? I do think you should be doing that now. I'm not even gonna lie, I do think you should be doing that. I think that we all should be eating at particular times of the day. And if you're not hungry, just take a couple of snacks, a couple of bites of something, and then just don't eat past that. Like, do not eat past that. I'm guilty. I was guilty of that actually last night. Whenever y'all looking at us, I was guilty of that last night. I was had worked out, and then I was on a conference call. And the conference call didn't end until like 8:30, 8:40, and I have not eaten dinner, and I had to eat late. Or what about, do you have a particular song or a place or smell that reminds you of the past? And we do have that. All of us have that, like certain songs or places that we've been to, like it's been programmed into our head. And that's like a classical conditioning, because that imprint is there. Like a particular scent is going to remind you of somebody. And, like somebody's, things that we have in us, like a certain song, like you said, or a game will remind you of a time in your childhood, good or bad, it's going to remind you of it. So we're exposed to classical conditions one way or another throughout like our entire lives. So, and I can get the short bursts of information that you get on the go, but even when you get in that, you should make sure that, like I said before, all the information is valid. And the problem is, whether we just put it out there, we're not really coming back to make sure that what we did say was correct. And then the issue that I see too with that is, like, once we're corrected on that, we take it as we're being attacked, and we don't yet take it as a teachable moment to even say that, okay, that's my bad. I didn't validate this information. Thank you for correcting me. Or I did look at someplace and it wasn't accurate, but thank you for correcting me. I will update this post and or delete it and or make another video and say that what I said previously, because I did that when it came to Kamala. I had made something talking about her that I had completely wrong from some of the stuff I had looked at. Like, seriously. And I let it go to the wind. Like, I let that thing go to the wind. And when they came back that she was the nominee, I came back and I apologized. Like, I actually went in and did some full deep dive and research, and I was wrong. And I made a whole video saying that I was wrong. And people were surprised by it. Like, especially people in my circle. They was like, wow, you actually came back and apologize. I said, I did come back and apologize. I said, I think we do a dishonor to ourselves and the people around us if we don't come back and correct some of the stuff that we've said, especially if we know it's it. Now, like, we learn the truth, and we know, especially as content creators, if we learn the truth about something, and then we don't come back and recorrect ourselves, I think that's doing a disservice to people that's around, especially people that's following you or just looking to you for advice on information on something. And I think the issue is too many people have their favorite content creator when it comes to like a lot of this information, to where they use a content creator to help them to develop their mindset and their thought on certain things, and don't even validate that. Like, it's the one thing I always talk about when it comes to teachers, the pastors, and anybody trying to educate you on something, even doctors, they try to educate you on something. Like, I can't tell a doctor that he's wrong because I'm not trained in that field, but I can go look the information up. I can go look it up, and I can go get a second opinion. Like, there's a plethora of doctors out there. I can go get a second opinion and say, okay, this is what I was told. This is what I looked up based upon what he told me, him or her told me. And this is what I looked up. And then I looked up with my symptoms and conditions and stuff. And this is what I'm seeing online. Like, can you tell me that what him or her told me is correct based upon what they said to me, and then some of the stuff that I looked up with what they said to me? But people don't do it. Like, they rely way too much on that one source without ensuring that whatever that source is saying is actually valid. And they will cite that like it's the holy word. They really will do that. Like, this is like 47 right now. People are citing this man, and I'm like, this man is completely wrong. Like, he is completely wrong on a lot of things. And they don't listen. They don't go and do any research on it. They just take it for what it is. And then you've heard me complain about this before, that we walk around, with the computers in our pockets and refuse to just ask it a question. Like, you can say the thing's name and it will come up, and it will correct you on the spot, like real time, and let you know what the information is. And then most cases give you the source, behind it. And it agitates me to no end when you have these reporters out there and you got somebody there asking a question to, and they are blatantly lying in your face, into the world's face, because they're on film. And the reporters don't come back and say, that is not true, and this is cited by this person, that is not true. They just let that stuff go out into the world. And then when they get back to the news stations, that's when they want to argue down. No, why don't you correct in real time? You ain't got a problem correcting no child. Why don't you correct in real time? Like, once it's out there, it's out there. Why didn't you correct them right then and there? That's what I don't get. It's like, why are you not checking these people? And it's just not about policy. It's not just political. It's just anybody that's in front of you, and they're telling you something that you know for a fact is not right. And you can pull up your phone and ask it a question and show them it's not right. We don't do that. And it's like, I think it's because we're afraid of confrontation. And I'm just like, but you would rather talk about it when you get out of it, right? And it's like, and that's the same thing when we come talking about the adoption when it comes to technology and kids. Like I said earlier, kids are born with iPads and stuff. They're born with tech in their hands. But doing all of that, they lose their critical thinking skills. And I think we take on an irrational response in something when we learn because a person is an asset, and it's like the only citation they got is from their content creator, and they have not, did any research behind it. And like I said, they get upset behind it. And this is the same as kids learning. Heck, in the time it's taken me to even write this script out. Like I said, I've stopped a couple of times to just I haven't done it now because I'm talking. Like, while I'm talking, I'm not doing it, to pick up studies. But we have studies that have shown now how kids' attention spans have been affected by technology or the short form content within technology.
All right, therapists are sounding the alarm on short attention spans in children, and they are blaming the cell phone. A lot of us are guilty of doing this, scrolling endlessly through social media. I spoke with a licensed therapist about how short form videos affect the brain.
When you watch these videos in repetition, your brain gets a hit of dopamine very quickly. Dopamine is the brain chemical that is the pleasure principle in the reward system. It makes you feel good, and it makes you want to do more of whatever you were just doing.
Lee Pauls goes on to say people are getting used to that dopamine hitting coming very quickly, and that makes it harder for them to sustain attention in longer form activities. So this can make it hard to pay attention doing homework, meetings, sitting down to read a book, or watching a movie.
So even in this video, the question is, what do we do? And on one hand, the smartphone is a great device for researching topics for homework. And on the other hand, it's terrible due to social media. And social media is good and it's bad, because you can build a strong community off of social media. You can find like-minded people on social media, and y'all can like work off of one of each other. Y'all can build stuff. But it's one of those catch-22. Either you allow smartphones in your house and block out social media apps and or set timers for them, because you can't set timers for them, or you don't give your kids a smartphone at all, yet the content can still be reached online. Like if you give them a computer, they can go on to the social media site's website and they can consume it there. So it's like, you damned if you do and you damned if you don't. And now, even looking at that, they've introduced these things now that are called the dumb phones that literally have nothing on them but key things that are needed from a phone, especially like the one that MKBHD just did. Like it's a light phone 3. And the only issue is being able to send out, in my opinion, is being able to send out text messages. But if it's parents not being able to track their kids from the device, I track my kids from their device. I mean, I do it to this day, but that's because I don't want nothing to happen to you and I not be able to find you and not know where you are. Like, that's why I do it. And it's just like I said, the one that MKBHD just did a review on.
They give us access to information everywhere. They've revolutionized modern photography. They've created entire new economies around them. Amazing. But along with all of that good comes some trade-offs naturally. And one of the biggest ones is that they're designed to keep your attention and to be addicting. There are apps that literally their sole purpose is to maximize your screen time, to send you distracting notifications, to hook you back in and just give you little strategic hits of dopamine and minimal phone experience. Even nice little touches like this dial on the left-hand side. If you turn that, that's your brightness adjustment anytime you want. And then if you push it in, that turns on the flashlight. It's convenient. And then it does have a SIM card tray right here, so you can make phone calls and save contacts. And then you can see the other things it's capable of course, setting alarms. Everybody needs that. There's a calculator and a calendar. There's a camera, which as you can see, activates the single camera on the back. It's got this dedicated 2-stage shutter button. Now, it's not a good camera, but it is a camera. You can't change aspect ratio or resolution or do portrait mode or anything like that, but it is definitely a camera.
Now, this would be great if it had the basics of like text. I mean, it does have talk, a good GPS, and the ability to add family accounts. Like, this phone looks clean. Like, I would use this phone. Like, if it had the basic things on there, I would use this phone. Because I found that these phones are distractions. They literally are distractions. And I hate that we've gotten to where we become so reliant on it. Like, even when it comes to business, like businesses, you can do business regular ways, but then this people says like, no, you got to have social media accounts and you got to do all this stuff on social media, even just to get your business to grow now. And this is like, you got to reprogram yourself. Now, why would this even be? And there's no conspiracy behind any of the stuff that I'm sitting there talking about. Like, all this stuff is like, it's validated. But like, where will you come to where you believe stuff like this? It's just a basic form of capitalism. Because people believe that like these social media companies are purposely making people stupid. And I was like, no, I don't believe that at all. I mean, they're just trying to make money. Like, I don't think it's trying to purposely make you stupid. I just think it's like anybody. They want to make money. The only way they can make money, they got to keep you on their platform. And how do they keep you on their platform? How do they just allow certain content on there just for you to engage with? And as long as you're engaging, I got you on here and I can run ads and sell you stuff while you own your device and you own these social media platforms. And the problem, though, is that while you're doing that and you exposed to all this stuff, you're becoming susceptible to misinformation and disinformation, political polarization, difficulty understanding complex tech issues, the inability to critically assess new tools, and challenges to your security awareness, which is weird because, you have a device that will tell you your passwords have been involved with breaches and or a device following you, like the Apple AirTags. Like, all of these things can help you out if you use a device the right way, but we don't. Like, we've seen instances where people have been so locked into their phones. They've tripped and fell into water fountains. They've bumped into other people. They have fallen in holes in the ground. And it's because they're so locked into this, they're not aware of what's the security all around them in the perimeter. They just keep on walking and oblivious to the outside world. So they're that locked in and they've completely forgot about the external world that they're living in right now. So how do you wake up our learning? So we've got about through all that stuff. Like, how do you wake up our learning from that? And I think it's like being intentional about your sources, limit passive scrolling, and schedule and focus learning times. Like limit the time that you sit there on your devices and doing like just endless loop of just getting on, just, you know, scrolling up and looking at the content somebody else took time to make. Because it's crazy because, you know, we talk about what other people are doing, but some people have taken the time to make the content to put online. And that takes time to do that stuff. Like all that stuff is not short work. It's not easy. Like I wish it was just easy where I can just, you know, take this right here that I'm recording right now, throw it into Premiere Pro or whatever editing tool y'all use, drop a couple of things in there and just upload it. I can't do that. Like I really have to take some time to work on this stuff and just to make sure it's right and add in certain things and do color corrections and make sure audio and stuff is good, and which I'll be talking about in the course coming up. So that's what I'm like, you looking at these people that's making the content for it, and they got you locked in. And I don't want you to leave. Like I want you to listen to this right now. And I know that even in my stuff, it won't work as well because even the computers have been trained to do certain things. Because I was talking about this last night in one of my streams, or whenever y'all listen to this, I do stream. Like I play video game content, so I stream like on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Sometimes I miss a day or two, but I typically stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And I will announce when I'm not streaming, but people don't follow me like that. So, but anyway, I say that to say that even the algorithm itself it's almost like people habits, because my channel has politics. Like I talk about politics. I used to talk about it heavily, tech and like gaming content. So it's nowadays been either one of the two, sometimes three, depending on, you know, what's going on or what I want to talk about. Typically, like I said, so generally you would get more gaming content because I'm streaming. And when I stream on my channel. So that pops up outside of the political content. But algorithm doesn't care. Algorithm goes by what it thinks people want to see based on my channel. So it's confused on my channel because it doesn't know what to push out. And so it can't, because I'm not talking about one consistent thing to refer me to people, almost the same as people, it doesn't recommend my channel like the way I would like to see it get recommended. So I think if we take those, to get back on topic though, I think if we do something different, kind of like what the algorithm is doing, but not what the algorithm, something different than what it's doing, and take time to focus on a certain thing, especially when trying to learn something and look at that intentionally, and you can look at a multitude of topics, I think that will help re-trigger like some of the stuff that you could do to help that whole condition learning again. Or get back to general like note taking, like writing down stuff on physical paper. And because that helps me out too. Like if I'm really trying to learn something, I pull out a pen and paper or pencil and paper and I write it down on there. And I don't even go back to those notes, but it's because of the way that I just told you before, I'm like one of those active learners. So if I'm writing it down and I'm doing the action of it, even though it might be some technical related, I retain it better than actually sitting down, typing it up on the computer. It's weird. My brain is weird how it works. Or when I'm doing notes, like I can do some notes on this app I use. Shout out to Craft, because Craft is the app that I use for all of my note-taking stuff outside of the notes on the iPhones. But if I'm doing notes, that helps out because now if it's something that I really, really want to learn and I need like prompts or, you know, scripts and stuff I write down, then not like I'm talking about computer scripts, then I can go back and do a search in that app to get whatever the script was that I wrote down, especially when it came to things that command prompts that I use for work or I use in my for like doing personal projects outside of work. And because is there way, I will say this, unless you got a photographic memory, it's no way to remember all the command prompts needed in Linux. There is no way to remember all those things on the top of your head, because you can have those ones that you use all the time. Like when I was building certain things or databases, certain scripts that you write, I can remember those things off the top of my head. I haven't used it in like almost a year. But I can remember those things off the top of my head. And the other ones, I got to have notes for it. So you can summarize things in your own words. So like you learning something, like write it down and summarize it in your own words. Don't go by AI to have it summarized, because AI does enough for you too. It summarizes things for you. And I'm like, that's cool. It does do that. But it's not really helping you out. You know what I'm saying? Y'all get that? So it's summarizing a breakdown of like an email string, because it could be long-winded and or a couple of chapters in the book that you're reading, it'll summarize it for you. But I'm like, you really, I think a person need to do that themselves so they can really learn it. Because if it's doing it for me, I'm not really learning from it. Like I get it's again, short form content. You just shorten it out and gave me a general analysis of it. But what if there was key words in there that I needed that I'm missing now because you didn't think that I needed that? And again, this is critical thinking, because now you have to ask that question. Like, I need to go back and actually, now I got to go back and actually read this stuff and then get my own thing from it so I can make sure that I'm not missing anything. And one thing you can do too is like, you can make learning enjoyable, like finding creators that actually teach things in a fun way, and also make gaming out of learning sometimes too. Like you can make an actual game out of it. Like go down that rabbit hole when it comes to information that you're curious about. Like really dig down deep into it, because I do love that. Like when you finally get lost into it, because I can get lost when it comes to certain tech things, especially like when I was building out my Linux systems and I learned how to do like really hardcore Linux stuff. And I had to do like I built out one from Arch Linux. Arch Linux is like, if you want to learn how to do Linux and learn how all the platforms work and getting your drivers and stuff loaded to a computer, learn Arch, because Arch, in most cases, you have to build from the ground up. Like you actually have to go in, build out your drivers, all your connections and stuff, and make sure everything, even your user interface, like adding in the right user interface, all those things you have to build from scratch. And it's a good way to learn Linux. That's for the nerds in the community. And the one thing, though, that I don't talk a lot about, that I should talk about on this channel when I talk about gaming, is how gaming helps you throughout your life. Like it really does. Like people hate kids that sit there and game, but I was like, yo, as a parent, you should be gaming. Because gaming does actually help improve your cognitive functions, like focusing, multitasking, and problem solving. Some games even stimulate the brain and can lead to increased gray matter, which is linked to improved cognitive performance and helps out with dementia. Like it really does. Like we have this old timers now that we used to see in all the movies. Like nobody really put two and two together when they would be at the parks playing chess. I mean, it's really to help them out. Then if they can process out, it really is to help them out. Like I want my dad. My dad is getting to that stage now, and I want him to play some video games or start playing chess. Chess is great. I love chess. I haven't had anybody play with it in a long time, but I love chess. Chess will have you thinking, and you really got to learn your stuff when it comes to playing people and different strategies and stuff. I'm a big war person. Like I'm big on like understanding people's war tactics and stuff, and what makes them think about how to key certain things on the battlefield to win certain victories. So now I applied the same concept when it came to chess, but it's no something different in the two nanas I talked about in the last episode, where they were they're gamers, they're online gamers, and they're doing great in the community. And one of them is, I guess both of them making money off just sitting down doing what they like doing right now. And like I said, I enjoy it. I don't see why more adults don't play games. Like it's not to say that, because my thing is, people with challenge games, they would say, oh, well, y'all being lazy. But I'm like, what's the difference in playing video games or you watching your reality TV show? Or you watching, like, especially when you get older, you watching your soap operas. Like, you tell me the difference in that. Like, at least I'm doing something that I'm enjoying it. It's benefiting me mentally. Sometimes, I mean, they do stress you out when if you're playing online. Sometimes they will. Or the game itself might stress you out when you can't beat a certain boss. But I'm still learning from it. So you're doing all this stuff and you're learning at the same time on top of consuming it. You ain't doing nothing but sitting down just watching a TV show, or you watching a Real Housewife thing. Tell me which one is better and why you think what I'm doing is wrong versus what you're doing is right. But there can be negative aspects to gaming where this all that you're doing and you're not living your actual life. You're not paying attention to your partners. You're not paying attention to your kids. You're not actually doing work. You're not trying to build something, so there are negative connotations to it, but there are good stuff to it too. And I look more so at the good stuff than I do the negative. Negatives like outliers. Like not everybody want to sit down unless you just like in a zone. Like you have those hard days, and we all have those hard days, and you just get in there and you get locked in. And it's just, to me, that in that place, almost like reading a book, it takes you away from reality for a little bit because you want to get away from the pain just for a little while. So overall, though, I mean, just get back to the point. I think we need to get back to the basics in order to prove our critical thinking, because regardless of who you like as your leader, you have to be able to see when someone is going to ruin everything around you and ultimately cause harm to you and your family. This is get back to the whole political part of it. And it's the lack of not breaking down why we do business with foreign countries and not understanding we cause this on ourselves due to greed, and not picking it up and say that when you're doing certain things to raise the price of something, it's a good thing to drive stuff back, industries back over here. And I'm like, well, we have not built up that infrastructure to be able to bring stuff back over here. And I think that is the issue that's been irking me lately to drive all of this home, is that we have devices in our pockets and we keep this on both sides, putting ignorant people in place that does not represent the community as a whole or has our best interest in mind. And there is no perfect candidate. There is not a perfect candidate. But we don't ask the right questions when it comes to because this affects all of us. Like, I don't care what industry you work in. It affects all of us. It affects educators. It affects people working in technologies. It affects people working in blue collar jobs. And you got to get back to a place of where we encouraging thinkers, and we can encourage our kids to grow to be critical thinkers and not rely on even us as parents for the end all of information, and making sure that we have a full grasp of what's going on around us. So, I think that that's what we need to get back to and do our due diligence and fact checking stuff and making sure people are understanding what's taking place in this world. And even when it comes to their work, like really breaking down, what it is in their work. So thank y'all for tuning in to this episode. Thank y'all for coming back. Thank y'all for my active listeners. And if you hung around and you have not unsubscribed, I appreciate you for being here. Y'all let me know how much content, because how much content y'all want to see come from me. Do y'all want to see more political talk throughout the week? Like, I'm asking this question. I don't generally get a response back, and I'm just being honest about it. I don't get a response back. Do y'all want to see more political stuff or a mixture of all of it? Like, I guess fair and balanced. Like, how many videos of each do you want to see? Like 2 political topics, two technical topics, and y'all know I already stream. So you got 3 days of streaming is guaranteed no matter what. It's gonna be out here. Now, not always. I'm about to start streaming vibe coding. So, but until I do that, it's still gaming content. So there's definitely 3 days of that. So do y'all want to see more political stuff to offset that? To where I got a lot of stuff talking about politics and stuff in my feed. But anyway, y'all let me know, man. But make sure that you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you can see when I do post this stuff that's up there. And let's talk about it in the comment section, because all this stuff helps out the channel. And I do think we need more fair and balanced, independent people talking about key issues, because we don't have that right now. And I like to say when the reason I don't focus heavily on politics, even I did it early on in my channel, because I was in politics. I'm still in politics now, but I was heavily in politics because I run for office then. I think that it rots the brain, like it causes the brain rot. When you consume so much of one thing when it comes to that has a negative aspect of yours, almost like the gaming stuff, I think it rots your brain. That's why I try to break it up a little bit. Now, I think the issue is that, I was talking about this last time on my stream, I think the issue is being, though, with me doing that, people don't vibe with the channel, and they either don't come back to it or they just unsubscribe. And I hate that. But I get it. I can't make you stay here. And I don't want to talk about one thing all the time to help feed that dopamine of yours when it comes to politics and stuff. So that's what I'm asking you now. Like, what do you want to see? What do you want to see? If you want me to continue doing what I'm doing, just say, hey, man, continue doing what you're doing. I think what I just talked about right now is an important thing, because it does involve politics and it does involve forms of technology. Like, we've lost our critical thinking skills because the technology has dumbed us down to where it helps us, but it hurts us. And we putting these fools in office, and we're not making wise decisions when it comes to learning things, especially for higher education or in schools. And then it comes bad for our kids because we're not allowing our kids to learn critical thinking skills, because we have the things straight up in front of them all the time and not teaching them to actually think past what it is that they're seeing on the screen all the time. So anyway, sorry for the little rant. I just, I had to get it out there. But again, thank y'all for being here. Tell me what you want to see. Make sure y'all being safe out there. It's getting towards, it is peak and tan season. So I'm already getting my little summer hue on from us walking out 4 to 5 times a week, doing 6 to 7 miles, 4 to 5 times a week. So love y'all. Be safe. As always, be safe. Take your L's. Live for today, because tomorrow's not promised. Tomorrow is not promised. People are leaving here on a regular basis, much younger than we would like to see them do. Laugh about the things that you have no control over. And this is the advice to myself, because if you have no control over it, why stress about it? Because it's going to hurt you internally. and lead with your heart. Like, I honestly believe, and I'm going to always say this, I think if you lead with your heart and you lead with kindness and you lead with love, that God will send the same energy back towards you. So till the next time, again, y'all be safe. Love y'all. Peace. All the searching, pain is never really permanent, but damn, it hurts, man. I could feel all of